What is going on, you guys? Today we are going to go over a topic that is frequently asked about on this channel. And this video is going to be a sequel to a video I had previously made on a similar topic in a video called Bulking for Beginners, and I will put a link to that video in the info section down below. But the topic of today's video is 5 tips to gain weight. And the video is designed specifically for the ectomorph, or the naturally skinny person who is doing all they can to gain some weight and some muscle, but just cannot do it. So a variety of lifestyle factors can get in the way of us trying to gain weight. Some of us have what we might call a fast metabolism, or some of us might just have a very poor functioning digestive tract that doesn't allow us to absorb all of the nutrients that we are eating. But regardless of the circumstances, we just have to fight against the odds and gain some weight. So let's dive into 5 tips that will help you gain some weight. Tip number 1 is to make sure that we are eating in a caloric surplus. And again, this is a piece of advice that you hear most frequently across the internet, in magazines, from other fitness friends. We hear this all the time, that you need to eat over your caloric maintenance in order to gain weight. But it is difficult to understand exactly what this means, and the only way you are going to be able to tell what your exact calorie intake is if you are using a diet tracker or a calorie counting app. And the most common calorie counting app on the smartphone is an application called MyFitnessPal. And I am not promoting them in any way, just so you guys know, but it is one of many ways you can track your calories and your macronutrients, because it has like a massive food library that you can enter into your personal online little diet journal on there. And there are plenty of videos online that allow you to use these apps and tell you how to use them correctly. But here is what it would look like if I was trying to gain some weight. So I am 24 years old, I'm about 5'10", at 180 pounds, pretty low body fat, so like right around 10%, somewhere in there. I'm extremely active. I do work 60 hours per week outside of the channel, so I'm working at Starbucks, if you didn't already know that. I'm also a personal trainer, and based on my personal statistics, I would probably have to eat about 3,100 calories per day to just maintain my weight. And if I was trying to gain weight, I need to eat about 3,600 calories in order to gain 1 pound per week. So that's on a daily basis. We need to be eating about 3,500 more calories than our maintenance per week, or about 500 calories per day, in order to gain that 1 pound per week. And also keep in mind that our body is naturally going to regulate its own metabolism, making it even harder for you to gain weight. So it may actually speed itself up to make it so you can't gain weight. And there's really nothing you can do about this. So you just have to keep eating more. And macronutrients are very important, especially our protein intake. You hear about protein all the time. Protein intake will vary from person to person based on our own body chemistry. But the general rule of thumb, and the most general advice you'll hear, is to shoot for around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for me, that's 180 grams of protein. And that's, again, you have to play around with that number, figure out what works for your body, experiment over time. Your fat intake should be somewhere between 20 to 30% of your total calories. And this is important for hormone levels, to keep you healthy, keep your joints healthy, and to absorb all of those fat-soluble vitamins that we've mentioned before, A, D, E, and K. And these should be coming from healthy sources such as fatty fishes like salmon, tuna, nuts, etc. And then again, we just have carbohydrates, which will make up about the rest of your calories. But you should make sure they are coming from healthy sources. And the sources could be whole grains, brown rice, potatoes, things like vegetables, like beans, fruits such as apples, bananas, grapes, berries, avocados, etc. We want to minimize the amount of calories coming from sugary beverages and other foods, because we want to focus on the quality of the foods because of their micronutrient content, which is also known as the vitamin and mineral content. And if we aren't eating healthy foods, we're missing the whole point of your health and fitness journey, because it is health. So in short, we just have to eat more food. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you are eating more frequently. So let's look at your daily eating habits, and let's say you have a hard time eating the amount of calories you need in order to gain weight because you keep getting full at each meal before you finish the amount of food you need. You need to eat more meals throughout the day. We can totally throw out the myth that has been debunked over and over again that eating more frequently boosts your metabolism, because you are still eating the same amount of calories per day, no matter when you are eating them, and the body still works the same amount, producing the same thermogenic effect in order to digest and absorb the same amount of food. So what you need to do is eat more throughout the day. That way you avoid getting full as much as possible and can eat all the food you need. So for me, as an example, again, instead of eating 1,200 calories 3 times per day, I could eat 6 times per day at 600 calories a meal. Or instead of eating about every 5-ish hours, you eat about every 2 to 3 hours. And this may also help improve the nutrient absorption because your digestive tract isn't overloaded with food, so oversaturating those stomach acids. And as a side note, prepping your meals is also a great idea. Just make sure that when you prep your meals, you give yourself some variety because a lot of people tend to get super boring with them. You want to make sure you're not missing out on crucial nutrients in your diet, so those micronutrients we just talked about. This will make it much more visual for you because if you miss a meal, it's just going to be sitting there, so in your fridge or cooler, you'll be able to see that you're missing it, so you need to go eat that. So let's make sure you eat the same amount throughout the day, just more frequently with less at each meal, in order to make sure you do not get full and miss out on your crucial calories. Tip number 3 is to eat more calorie-dense food. The term calorie-dense means that the food has a lot of calories, so high-calorie foods. This is the exact opposite of a term that you've probably heard me use in the past called nutrient-dense, which means low calorie and high vitamin and mineral content. So for example, leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, stuff like that. A calorie-dense food would be something like brownies or ice cream, which have a ton of calories. But remember that we want to keep this as healthy as possible. So some examples of healthy calorie-dense foods could be something like meat, your fattier fish again, like salmon, your lean beef, so anything above like 90% lean and above. Fruits would be good, like bananas. Avocado is actually a fruit. I actually kind of learned that recently. For vegetables, it could be like beans or potatoes. And for your healthy fats, you could add like canola oil or olive oil to the foods. And eating more calorie-dense foods will allow you to eat a lower total volume of food, but it will add the additional calories you need, which will help you from getting full, so that you have no excuse to get those calories in. So you're just gonna make sure you find out which high-calorie healthy foods are gonna work for you. Tip number 4 is to consume more liquids. And I'm not exactly talking about water or anything like that. I'm talking about making homemade smoothies and shakes in order to drink most of your food and your calories. Because drinking your calories is a much more convenient way to make sure that you are reaching your goals. Now obviously, I don't want you blending like salmon and potatoes together because that would just be disgusting. But you could definitely build a fruit smoothie, something that's packed with protein and calories that you can take anywhere and drink. This will also help you from getting full because it will allow you to consume all those calories much faster before your body gets a chance to recognize that it's full, that it's satiated, that it doesn't need any more food. And this is where you can utilize things like protein powders and other natural protein sources like yogurts, milks, in order to hit your protein goals, while the fruits and vegetables make up for your carbohydrates and also some of your fats along the way with everything included. And another tip about drinking your calories is that your body doesn't have to work as hard to absorb the calories because it's all liquid, it's already broken down. So the TEF, or the thermic effect of food, is much lower, so your body doesn't have to burn as many calories, which allows you to use them for growth. Now obviously, you do not want to be drinking shakes every single meal. They should be used sparingly during times you cannot eat, like during work, for example. So if you're super busy, you can just drink. So eating real whole foods is obviously a part of normal life, so you want to eat as much as you can, but if you need to, have that shake. Tip number 5 is if all the other 4 methods are not working. And this piece of advice is to invest in a mass gaining supplement, also known as a mass gainer. There are a ton of these in the market, and what they basically are is a protein powder that's packed with a whole bunch of other stuff, usually consisting of, simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, fats, other muscle building supplements like creatines, very high amount of vitamins and minerals in there. But the point is, they're super high calorie. And my friend Scott from Scott Herman Fitness actually recently made a great video on this topic. So I'll link that video in the info section down below. So make sure you check that video out. But if you are looking for a mass gaining supplement, make sure that it has adequate protein for the amount of calories. So you want to look for something with around 30 to 40 grams of protein per 500 calories. That's just a rough estimate. This will just help ensure that you are getting a good quality supplement that will help you build muscle instead of one that's just going to help you pack on unwanted, accumulating fat. So if all else fails and you can't eat your food, make sure you go with a weight gaining supplement. So I hope you guys liked this video, and if this video helped you in any way, make sure you click that thumbs up button down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and make sure you hit that little notification bell right next to that subscribe button to make sure that you stay up to date with all of our newest uploads. And if you guys have any questions for me, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. Anyways guys, I hope to see you guys in the next video, but until next time, I will see you then. Peace.